Hey Sylvie, what day is today?
My birthday.
Where are we gonna go today?
Get a donut. My birthday. Birthday. My birthday.
How old are you today?
1, 2, 3. 3. My birthday. 1, 2, 3.
Bounce house, donut, and a new toy?
1, 2, 3.
We are headed to Newport News. Sarah is running a marathon out there called One City, and she is actually going to attempt to qualify for Boston. She needs under a 3:35 in order to qualify. So let's go. So I saw Sarah at 13. She was looking really strong. She was ahead of her pace. I'm at 21. Just waiting to see her. Come on, Sarah, let's go! Let's go, let's go!
I'm doing it!
I love you.
doing it.
I just saw Sarah at 21. She's killing it. So let's go meet her at the finish line. You ever have those days where you feel like you just have like a billion things that you need to knock out? That's my day today. I'm trying out a new setup. I'm gonna run cables from the main camera all the way to my desk so I can sit here and monitor and control the cameras. We'll see how it goes. Fun fact, when you cut things out like this and shine light through them for photography or video, it's called a cookie. Using a cookie lets you create all kinds of fun textures and stuff on the backdrop. This is the part of my job where I sit in front of this camera and this microphone and I read from a teleprompter. It is cold outside. It snowed last night, which is crazy because it's almost spring. Man, I am not a fan of this weather. But it's okay. It's nice and toasty in here. So I am headed to the new Cafe Stella, which is downtown. I'm here to meet Jared. My friends make super cool stuff. So I realized that I'm very bad about keeping a narrative while I'm shooting footage of things, which I just did. But that was my friend Jared's office. He does a lot of really cool work. You should check his stuff out. And now we're at Bottlebox.
Blardy blar, blurgity splurgin durkin durkin look at him, he's got one eye.
So if you find this video, it's because I've died. I'm in the sub-basement of some random building in Norfolk. We got that 16K, 4Ks yesterday. Look at the size of these things. It's an old elevator. Let's go inside it. Super creepy. All the buttons. Jordan, go in. Go in there. Jared, run! I'm hanging out in DC for a couple days helping a friend with a project. I've got some time off this morning, so let's go explore the city. Let's go. So I'm headed to a place called Grace Street Coffee Roasters. I do get to cross this awesome bridge that I've been seeing every day, so that should be fun. It's a lot hotter than I thought it was gonna be. I'm a little warm in my coat. Day one in Austin, we're going to Gordo's? Gordo's. Let's get some donuts. So this morning we headed to Gordo's and then we went mini golfing and now we have kimchi fries. Kimchi fries. What are we doing here? What are we gonna see? That's for me.
The bats! The
I'm not articulate like you. I swear I know how you value these words, but I cannot make poetry out of feelings like you do.
There are few things in life as enjoyable as a bike ride when it's warm out.
What are you doing, Aaron?
I'm trying to get the thing to do the thing.
What is that, Optimus Prime?
Yeah.
Alright, we're going to bed.
Okay. I did it!
Skateboarding will always have a special place in my heart. I don't hardly skate at all anymore these days, except to get from point A to point B when it's a nice day. Skateboarding taught me a lot when I was younger. It taught me to stick with something when I couldn't get it right away. I skated during a time in my life where you could get into a lot of trouble, and I ended up making a lot of really good friends as a result of my skateboard. So that was meant to be super inspirational, but I never landed the trick. Sarah's heading to Roanoke this weekend to visit her sister, which means I've got the girls all weekend. The last few times we've tried to go see the Lantern Asia exhibit at Botanical Gardens, it was raining, but it's beautiful today, so we're headed there. All right, it's been a really fun weekend, but the house is a mess, so I want to try and get it clean before Sarah comes home.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong, they are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. Let's sing one more song.
Okay, let's do Jesus Loves Me one more time. Today's jam brought to you by butter. It's not.
Don't think it is, because it's not.
It's not.
Calling out the wrong line, but you know it.
So I want to tell you guys a story. The problem with this story is it's just one of those stories that doesn't really have a point. It's something that happened to me, and I just felt like I needed to tell everybody. So I got to work a little bit early today, and I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, and it still had a good 30-40 minutes left before it was done. So I grabbed my skateboard and I headed down to the boardwalk to listen to the rest of the podcast before work started. So if you know anything about Virginia Beach, you know that you are not allowed to skate on the boardwalk, especially in the summertime when there's pedestrians around. During peak hours, cops will go out of their way to give skateboarders tickets if they're on the boardwalk. But this was like 8 o'clock in the morning, and in the number of years that I've lived here, I've known that getting to the beach early means that you can skate around and people just generally don't bother you. So I skate to the end of the boardwalk, I sit on a bench, and I listen to the rest of my podcast, just minding my own business. So when the podcast is all done, I kick my skateboard up, I hop off the bench, and I skate 3 streets back towards my office. I'm 1 street away from the street where I need to be, and I hear someone yelling, "Excuse me, excuse me." I had my earbuds on while I was skating, so I couldn't hear very well. So I pop one of them out, and I look around, and there's an older gentleman on a beach cruiser. And he pulls up next to me, and he says, "Son, did you know that you're not supposed to be skating on the boardwalk?" And he reaches into his pocket, and he pulls out a white card, and he shows it to me. So here's this man holding up a white card telling me I cannot skate on the boardwalk. And I look closer at his card, and I notice it says, "Experience the fun." So for those not familiar with Experience the Fun, that's the motto that the Virginia Beach Parks and Recreation Center uses across everything. So this man, who I thought might be a cop or an undercover police officer, was in fact a paying member to Virginia Beach's Parks and Recreation Center? Now, I'm no expert in trying to be a cop or trying to pretend that I'm a cop, but you would think that flashing a badge and then hiding it would be the best way to go. This gentleman had other plans. He was going to show me that he was in fact a member of our very fine Parks and Recreation facilities. So once I realized what was going on, this man was just being obnoxious, I popped my headphones back in and I skated away. I'd maybe gotten 2 pushes away from him and he cut me off with his beach cruiser. So he pulls in front of me with his bike, and once again, he has to present his card. He has to be sure that I know that he is in fact a member of Parks and Rec. Then he steps off his bike and leans in and says, "Son, I'm gonna need you to leave the boardwalk immediately." So then I step off my skateboard and I look him in the face and I say, "Sir, do you realize that you're not allowed to have bikes on the boardwalk?" And this is in fact true, you're not allowed to have bikes on the boardwalk. There's a whole bike lane just for bikes. Well, he didn't like this very much. He got in my face again and he said, "You need to leave." So at this point, I'm right next to some mulch and a median in between the boardwalk and the bike lane. So I just hop over the mulch and I am in the bike lane and I skate away. And this guy, Terminator 2 T-1000, starts chasing me on foot. He's behind me yelling, "Sir, you need to leave, you need to go." And he's just waving his arms and hollering at me. A 16, maybe 17-year-old kid goes skating by in the opposite direction on the boardwalk. So of course, Mr. Parks and Rec responds immediately. He turns, and he runs to his bike, and he hops on, and I hear him yell, "No skateboarding on the boardwalk!" So I got back to my office, I poured myself a cup of coffee, and when I got back to my desk, I immediately signed up for a membership to Virginia Beach Parks and Recreation.